Hey, how's it going, everyone? This is Matthew Presswood from Backer Club. I'm here with Ralph from Ralfy's N1 on Kickstarter live right now. How's it going, Ralph?
Hello, Matt. Well, first of all, thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak about a project that is really close to my heart, Ralfy's, and things are going good. We are two-thirds into the campaign. Funding goal was reached on the first day, and shooting way over it, and hoping to get the shoe to as many people as well as they like.
Yeah, that sounds really great. We're just going to ask you a few questions today, and I hope you can answer them for us. We're going to just jump right into it here. All right. So, for someone who's brand new to Ralphie's, can you give us a brief explanation of the shoe?
Very happy to do that. So Ralphie's N1 is a shoe that is made for a busy person who rather wanted to wear a slipper, going out of the house very quickly, having the hands full, carrying groceries, something for work, maybe their kids, not having the time or the energy to bend down and tie your laces. So you simply slide in like into a slipper. And it was really born from how I was wearing my shoes, always a broken back. And but also I wanted to look nice when I go out, in a sense of I didn't like to have those Crocs, clogs, slippers, and going into public, meeting friends, or even going to the supermarket and you bump into somebody and you just look odd. I wanted to avoid that as well. And I've been in the industry for a long time, but haven't seen such a shoe, so I thought I want to do it.
Awesome. Great. Yeah, I know it's a great design. I really like this design of this shoe. So, talking about the design, how is it different from other shoes in the market? And then what would you consider to be the most unique value proposition or standout feature of the shoe?
Well, that's an excellent question. And well, as we said, we started with the idea of having a slipper that looks like a sneaker. That was the idea. And born out of this, we had a couple of different options how to do that. And one was you almost start with a slipper, make it aesthetically a little bit nicer. But one important thing was how it felt on the foot, because a lot
Mm,
of slippers and clogs, when you have those EVA around your feet, you get sweaty, you swim around into
yeah,
them. So very shortly afterwards, we wanted to have a sock lining, at least to say, and then we experimented. How do we get that piece of textile into that shoe? And whilst we were doing it, it seemed to be interesting to have swappable inserts. So you kind of get them in, you get your foot in, you get your foot out, but you can also remove that insert. That was more a constructional thing because we had to do it anyways. And the question was just, do we glue it inside or do we make it removable? But then we said, well, let's do it removable because you can clean it very easily. You can have different colors and you can only
yeah.
replace the insert or the shell, whatever has been worn off. And this really became the most important feature in that sense. And that's bridging into what the shoe stands for.
Great. Yeah, is the insole more like a sock or is it more like a cold slipper lining?
It's it's something special and newly made. So I wouldn't compare it to a sock at all. It has more like a sports shoe mesh upper. It has a very, very thin stretch rubber sole, so it keeps its form, its
Mm,
composure. It has it's actually quite technically packed. In the back, it has a mold, so it's a little bit harder, and then you can slide into the shoe without your hands. That was a very important feature because we didn't want to put the insert in and then you need your hands again.
yeah,
So,
exactly.
even on the collapsible, and that was another option we thought about to make it without any tech, and you just kind of put your foot in and you crash that insert. and after if you go longer or go running or jumping, then you put the bag up. But, we decided to make it straight away that you slide in, and that was, how it comes. So it's very unique. I would rather say it's almost like it's an inner shoe.
Wow, okay, cool. Talking about I'd like to really dive into the sustainability aspects of the project because I think they're like really important. Can you talk a little bit more about that?
Yes, very happy to do so. And but before I go into what Ralphys really has in terms of sustainability, I felt this is a really important topic, and yet a topic that is so nuanced and the whole I mean, there's even this term greenwashing and everything around. It makes it really difficult to understand um, what it means. Because if you have, for example, recyclable plastic, this is still plastic. It might be better
Yeah,
um, than
yeah,
what's called virgin plastic, but it's still plastic, for example. And when you walk it off, it still lands somewhere in the ground because um, yeah, like little particles always fall off when you wear off your shoes. And things like that to consider was, where do I even start? It's been, quite interesting. So my stance at it is I wanna do as much as possible while still being commercial. So it's not 100% perfect shoe. I think actually almost no shoe in the market is. I wanna be realistic on it, but I also wanna bring something to the market that it's much better than the average, and it keeps evolving as, um, the industry evolves and the knowledge around sustainability does. So for Ralphys and one particularly, there are two areas we have been looking at. One is the obvious, these are the materials itself. Um, Instead of doing just a EVA, we opted for a sugarcane foam. So
yeah,
that's one on the shell. And on the insert, we looked into, is there a more sustainable option versus again the virgin produced things. So we for the mesh we did, and that's um, the majority of the insert. That mesh is out of recycled cotton.
well,
But then we didn't stop here. What we then did is we looked into the modularity of the shoes, where we said, well, because we are making the inserts swappable, we will offer those inserts and the shells apart from each other. So you can literally just replace when something has been worn off. And at the same time, we looked that we have durability and many wearing occasions. So uh, this could be your shoe for almost all the occasions, except for specialty like a wedding
yeah,
or a sports specialty, or when you go really mountain hiking, etc. Then you want to have a
yeah.
specialty shoes. But for your everyday life, you could use that for all occasions. And with the inserts, you swap very quickly from an all black for work into a more fancy color when meeting your friends. And actually, you can just put it in your backpack very easily. So you reduce the number of shoes you need, you reduce the number of parts you purchase also in the future to replace them.
Mm, yeah,
And we are also looking to bring new shells and new inserts with different features. So maybe it would be one thing is to have something more open, like a sandal. Um,
ah,
Also on the inserts, this one is very tech loaded, but maybe have a very easy one that you can just wear barefoot and then put into the washing machine. And they will be all mix and match because I'm working with the same fit with everything that is there to come. So we build it also around how do we actually produce and use less.
wow. Yeah, I mean, you guys have really thought about this topic a lot, and that's kind of why I wanted to go into it here in this, podcast, is so that you could have the opportunity to explain all this because I was noting that there was a lot to it. And so I'm really glad that you guys really dove into that and really like embraced everything that you could for this N1 shoe.
Absolutely, yes, it was. again, very close to our hearts. And
Yep.
when you don't do so many things in your life with that much passion, and this is really something I've been working for 3 years on to get to this stage. And I didn't want to bring something half-hearted or where I would regret. I wanted to make something I could be proud of. I could be sharing to friends, um, and family, and really say, well, that's what I stand for with each and every part of it. Being it, is it perfect? Not, it isn't, but it is really on the way and it's still evolving, going further. So I really wanted to create that.
Yeah. Yeah, that's awesome. I really like it. All right. Can you give us like a brief overview of like the team and like any partners that you have for the project?
Absolutely. So I've been working, as I mentioned, with Dan from the very beginning, and he has been crucial for footwear development. Great person, and also already aligned the follow-up um, products that are coming. And with him was Gareth Rees. He has his own design studio, has worked for footwear before, but also in the car industry. Currently, is working at Lotus, the British luxury
Yep.
race car brand, wonderful brand.
Yep.
And we really bridged a lot of things in from that, where what they were doing really good. I think the arches were some of the inspiration, and he was doing the design, and is also there to do further of the design. There is a person called Owen, Owen Friend. He has been doing the all the branding. There's really a branding in terms of colors, the logo, the fonts. We really
Yep.
want to give a we wanna give a luxury feel, when you get the product, when you touch it, from the whole brand, but we still wanna keep it at an affordable price. So we were looking, what parts of luxury are actually really nice, but not adding directly to cost? And one
Yep.
is sophisticated colors and fonts and typography and all around that. So we did really get the deep dive into that. Um, there is a person called Chris. So the team is all around the world.
Yep.
We work on a gig base. The good thing is I have been working in industry for 10 years, so I can break down all the parts into the jobs that need to be done. And for that job, I can find the absolute expert. And being at this stage of the company, I don't need a full-time marketing person because there's not enough marketing to be done. But when I need something really professional, really good, really quick. And and at that time, there will be like a few weeks really high workload. And this partnership has been doing really well. Everybody is, let's say, staying on board for follow-up gigs. And that has been serving all of us. So there's Chris in Australia, and I literally send him samples, and he does photo shoots. He looks at the product, he does the brand video, and very quick to reach, an expert on this particular thing. We have a manufacturing partner in in um, in China who has been
Okay.
a specialized in startups, but also in technical footwear and the kind we are doing. So we feel this is a really good match between the brand and the supplier in that sense.
Mm.
Again, being in that industry, I know there are some giants, but when you work as a small brand with them, it can be very challenging in terms of minimum order quantities, in terms of getting changes in that you have to do because you're doing an innovative product. So that all around is the team, and it's highly dynamic. We can scale very quickly if there is a job to be done. We go to our networks, see who is the best person to do it, and then expand the team to that area.
Yeah. That sounds really good, Ralph. I'm glad you have the expertise to be able to put together a, kind of a piece parts team, a bare minimum team. And it shows, I think, a lot of I can't come to the words, but it just, like it sounds like you've really created a cohesive team that really is able to very efficiently, I think is what I was looking for, accomplish all the things that needed to be done for this Kickstarter project. And so I think it's all come together really well. And I think you did a really good job of explaining it.
Well, it's great to hear, and I'm very proud of the team. And when you present it, it always sounds very nice, but you don't see um, all the failures you have been going through. So I have been,
Exactly.
before I even started, I've been just 6 months tapping into the black and reaching out to so many people on the design front until I met them. I have been on the marketing side. I have even paid other, and I didn't like the logo. And at one point, I said, "Well, I'm sorry, it doesn't work out." I actually
Yeah.
even like the person, but there was just not that bridge, and it takes you, and you almost level yourself up when you hire a certain standard, a certain level of person. At that point, you can do it again, but to get there the first time, it really takes you a lot of learnings that can be exhaustive. But yeah, we came to a great place. The team also amongst each other are communicating and kind of flowing the information very nicely. So that's also very helpful, and especially when you have those gigs set up, not common.
Awesome. So now I'd kind of like to move into like why you chose Kickstarter to launch this project instead of like, kind of going direct to market.
Question. And to be honest, first I didn't. I knew Kickstarter existed, but I wasn't really considering it too much. Again, being in the industry, managing international distributors, the first route was let's go with them. Let's sell a little bit of that product into the world because distributors basically buy your product off the factory. They take it into their own country. They
Yeah.
open stores. They do wholesale. They do e-commerce. They do it all around. Of course, for big brands, it's a no-brainer, so to say.
Yeah.
For small brands, it's challenging to get the right distributor
Yeah.
because, well, the good ones have a lot of brands want to go with the good ones. Let's say like that, and you don't want to be with the not good ones. So they have to think, and it's for them, it's quite an investment. So they have to consider. And I used my network to get into them, got really good forecasts and projection. That was a couple of years actually ago. That was when I was starting and kind of presenting the concept. So this was also a good proof of the concept. But then the post-COVID slump came, and one thing led to another. And
Yeah.
my forecast in terms of what people were projecting to go into, many said, "Well, the first thing we are cutting are new brands.
Yeah.
I'm very sorry. I like you. I like the product, but we have to get the belt tighter, and then you're not getting any new things in." So the forecast dropped 95%, and I was there with a very little order, with a few people who remained. I don't want to say loyal because everyone is loyal,
Yeah.
but there are different setups. The ones who had their own stores, it was much easier because they can put it onto their shelves.
Yeah.
So those were basically the ones who stayed, and I love it. I want to continue, but I need to find a way how to get to a certain size. And then I was looking into direct to consumer, but you have to prepay everything from the production, the development. You need to bring it home, get your website running, and all of that. And then
Yeah.
eventually you get a little bit of sales. With Kickstarter, it's different because it's almost a pre sale to the end consumer. And I really love that concept. So I thought I'm going to get the Kickstarter going and take the order quantities, everything we have from Kickstarter, combine it with the distributors that are still wanting to purchase the product, and then go with that combined amount into production. Because that lifts the pressure from Kickstarter to get to a certain number, but it boosts certainly on the cash flow, on profit, and all those metrics. And whilst I was preparing for it, so with that, I actually delayed the launch for a good year. And I prepared Kickstarter, I had a pre-campaign and all of that. And now I'm starting, it's working out well. Several distributors have come back because the sentiment has changed. Things are better right now. And it might be luck, it might be preparation, but now we are looking at a very different business than I was looking maybe 18 months ago, where things started to crumble, and I was wondering if I could even get it off the ground. And yeah, now we are really good, and Kickstarter is amazing. You get so much because you're forced to prepare everything.
Yeah.
The brand is presentable, and I ran some ads on the pre-campaign. I'm running ads now. I'm speaking to the consumers directly. You're so close to understanding what the people are gravitating to,
Yeah.
rather than if you wait until you have the product in your hand and then to put it on
Yeah.
the website. It's a big guess, and you might
Yeah.
have some things you haven't considered.
Yeah. No, that's really great. Yeah, perfect. I will, we're getting close on time here, so I'd like to just can you briefly tell me how confident you guys are in your September delivery date? It sounds like you have all of the manufacturing lined up already, so that should be,
It
pretty
is
pretty set in
indeed, yeah.
stone, but
Um, I mean, it is. So the good thing is, we are not new to the industry. We know the timelines. Um, Again, the factory has been from the start with us. They have been giving us the samples that we have gone through quite a few rounds, and now it's there where we want it to be. One thing that takes time is opening the so-called molds, where the shell, the material is going to be pressed, and that is just a manufacturing process that takes a month, and that's starting right now. And then afterwards, it takes around 3 months to produce. And
mm,
then the goods will be ready at factory end of July, maybe early August, when you account for a little delay that can easily happen. But normally it stays within a 2 week range. And then we have a good 2 months to ship it to the domestic hub. So I have some partners around the world. I will be importing to Europe. There is one in the US, in India, in the Philippines. So we have a good 4 to 6 weeks to ship it there. And then from there, we have the local last mile delivery. So it's
mm,
all according to plan.
awesome.
Unless a boat again goes crossways in the Suez Canal, we should be looking good on that. And yeah, the product is ready. That's really important because actually I thought we would be ready 3 months ago, and I did a little change, and there was a ripple effect. And I didn't start a Kickstarter at then, so it was no problem. And I really wanted to be 100% sure that we don't have things like that again. So yeah, on a scale to 1 to 10, I would be at a 8. At
Okay.
least in everything that's in our hand, that's really managed.
Awesome. Sounds like a good guess to me. And lastly, there's just one question left. Is there anything that you'd like to say, like, directly to the backers?
Very happy to. As I mentioned, Kickstarter has been great because it forces you to be close to, well, to your backers, but in general to an audience that gravitates to your product. And through testing, I've been finding out who that is and what they want. And the feedback has been phenomenal. I've been really, I mean, you always have hard moments in your entrepreneurial journey. And sometimes I just had to reread the comments, the direct messages. They are literally amazing. I want to thank everyone who put in the trust, the patience. Some have been actually waiting for quite a while. On the landing page, I did most of the work. It started in November, and we are now already in March, and then they're waiting again until it comes. But really eager. There have been yeah, some cases. This is the product I've been really waiting for, and I'm so happy to give it to them, and thank everyone again for the trust, the patience, and simply the belief in that we can make it happen and wanting to be part of it. because it's just all to them. I can just provide the platform, but it's them who are playing on it.
Awesome. Well, sounds good. There you go, everyone. There's Ralph from Ralphie's. Um, go check out Ralphie's N1 on Kickstarter. It's live right now. It's got a little time left, so make sure you at least go check it out and grab a pair if you want them. Thanks a lot, Ralph.
Thank you so much. This has been great.